This is the Armory. The Armory is a time bomb that is about to make a lot of people rich, or potentially lose them a lot of money. And in this video, we're going to be having a look at what's actually happening with this thing, and why a lot of people are excited, how it could go right, but also all the ways it could go catastrophically wrong. Let's get into things. Now, this video is sponsored by SkinsMonkey, the trading site where you can quickly and easily trade your skins. Just log in, add your trade link, and you are good to go. All you have to do is select the items you want and hit the trade button. There's over 150,000 items to choose from, and if you use my code Heyzeus, you can get up to $5 off your first trade. And even if you're not interested in trading, the site holds free, daily, weekly, and monthly giveaways that you can enter completely for free. It's a great site, check it out, link is in the description. So there's going to be two parts to this video. Firstly, I'm going to explain why some people think the Armory is a really great investment that you need to be buying right now, or you're going to miss out on the squintillions in profit that could be only weeks away. Secondly, I'm going to look at all the things about this investment that could also go disastrously wrong, and having done that, we'll try and figure out if the Armory is actually worth investing in. Okay, so let me tell you why the Armory is about to make you bank. The Armory is a skin shop that was added to the game in October 2024. Currently, there are 4 collections, 2 cases, 2 sets of stickers, and 2 sets of charms in it, and it is also due for a bit of an overhaul. In fact, we're closing in on a year since it was added to Counter-Strike, and it is getting about time for Valve to start removing things from it to make room for new stuff. This could happen as soon as next week with the end of Season 2 of Premiere, although it is much more likely we will be waiting until October, since that will be the 1-year anniversary of the initial Armory update. But regardless of whether it's this month or a few months from now, this update is going to be a big deal because the skins in the Armory are absolutely amazing investments. I mean, let's just start with charms. Charms are the weakest investment in this entire store, and even then they've got a lot going for them. The supply of them is currently so low that it is profitable to farm them from the Armory, and although charms aren't a consumable and they don't have a proven track record yet, it is hard to imagine them doing worse than agents, and agents have done pretty fucking well. Okay, so what about the stickers? Well, they are in a similar situation. They are profitable to drop, so we're literally not dropping enough of them as it is, and they're consumable, so the supply can only ever go down. And on top of that, these are really good stickers to craft with, and there's not that many out there. I mean, there is barely 200 of the Inclusivity Holo on the Steam market. And there's a precedent for stickers like this doing really well after being removed during past operations. Just check out the surf stickers. So these stickers have pretty much everything going for them, especially some of the holos, which I think are genuinely just great investments. But even better than this is the skins. There are 4 collections of skins in here. Train is the newest one, so I assume that one's not getting removed, but the other 3 definitely have the potential to go, and they have a lot going for them. I mean, let's just look at one of the most popular skins in the Armory, the M4A1S Fade. This is a top tier covert skin, and we're just going to take a moment to compare it to 2 other top tier covert skins from past operations, the AWP Fade and the Gungnir. Now, at first glance, the M4 Fade doesn't look very good here. There are 33,000 M4 Fades, 11,500 AWP Fades, and 3,400 AWP Gungnir's. However, when you look a bit closer, these numbers are not what they seem like. Firstly, the M4 Fade is designed to be 5 times more common than the other 2 skins here. Once you adjust for that, it's rarer than an AWP Fade and only twice as common as the Gungnir. And here's the thing about the Gungnir. The Gungnir is 15 grand, and M4 Fade is only $500. So a Gungnir is 30 times more expensive, but only 10 times less common. So, while an M4 Fade is obviously never going to be 15k, I think it could double or triple based on these numbers, particularly considering it's a fairly popular skin people actually like to use. And this is true of a lot of other skins in the Armory as well. There is some really good stuff here the community likes, and it doesn't seem like the market for them is oversaturated. There's a lot of potential if they are removed from the Armory. And then there's the investment with the biggest potential, and that is the cases. There are two cases in the Armory. The FIFA case is making Valve about $25 million a month, so I don't think that one's going anywhere, but the other one is being opened at a much more normal rate, so it is potentially on the chopping block. And what happens when a case gets abruptly removed from something like the Armory? Well, we actually don't need to speculate. We can just look at what's happened in the past. There's 4 cases that were discontinued after their operation, and literally all of them turned out to be amazing investments. Even the worst case has made a lot of money. And there's every reason to think that if the gallery case gets pulled from the Armory, it's going to make a lot of money as well. I mean, it's already rarer than every other actively dropping case on the market, and we know from experience what happens when these things get pulled. The community fucking opens all of them and then the price skyrockets. In fact, out of all the items in my rose-tinted one-sided analysis, this case is 100% the best, and I couldn't make a one-sided recommendation hard enough. Okay, so that sounds pretty rosy. What am I leaving out? Well, there's a few things here that could go horribly wrong. The problem isn't really any individual skin. The general rule over the last 10 years is that anything that gets discontinued goes up in price. There's exceptions, but those are pretty unusual, and I'm not seeing any signs of something like that happening here. What might happen though is Valve might just decide not to remove anything. The email they sent out explaining the future of the Armory was quite ambiguous, and it also said that if they were going to remove stuff, they would give people advance warning. And if you're an investor, that's not great because it means people have an extra chance to stock up before something gets removed. To be fair, given operations were still profitable in the past, maybe that's not a big issue, but stuff potentially not getting removed at all is a big issue. And we just don't know what the vision for the Armory is. I mean, it's true Valve do generally discontinue stuff long term, but if the Armory is intended as a kind of shop, well, the current shop in Counter-Strike doesn't have discontinued items. Anything in there is in the game permanently. And even if they do remove stuff, well, who's to say it's only going to be removed after 1 year? What if Valve decide they're only going to start removing stuff after like 5 years when the Armory is quite overcrowded? We also don't know how much stuff they're going to remove either. Like, how likely is it that they're going to cut all 3 skin collections at once? Not that likely, right? It's much more likely we only lose a single collection, which will probably be the graphic design collection since it's the least popular, but this is important because if you invest in the Fade I showed earlier, well, you're kind of fucked at that point, aren't you? And it's quite possible the best collections in here could stay in the Armory pretty much indefinitely. Now, drilling in on the cases as well, sure, they're probably the best investment, but I also think they're the biggest risk. Firstly, they are literally the most lucrative part of the Armory, so Valve has the least incentive to cut these things out of literally anything in here. And there's only 2 cases in the first place, there's not that many cases to remove, and even if they did remove the gallery case, well, what if they just went and stuck it in the normal drop pool? Its price will outright fucking crash. Now, I don't know how likely that is since the gallery case is less popular than the other actively dropping cases, but this is a risk, and if you invest in these cases and Valve puts them in the normal drop pool, well, you're gonna get massively fucked and lose a ton of money. And this is the real issue of the Armory. It's a fantastic investment unless Valve decides they're going to be fucking you over, and you've got no way of knowing if Valve will do that because they haven't told us what they're going to do one way or another. So, should you invest in the Armory? In all honesty, I think the answer is yes. The potential rewards are really good and well worth the risk, but just be aware that this risk is a binary. If Valve doesn't do what you want, your investment is probably wrecked and there's not a whole lot of middle ground here. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this video. If you've enjoyed it, please like, comment, and subscribe, massively appreciated. Otherwise, trust the numbers, not your gut. I'm Heyzeus, thanks for watching, see ya.